Hi, I'm Bill with Visual Training for Tennis. Bill Patton, Infinite Vision Coach. And today I'm going to talk about why not thinking about your technique is actually the key to better performances. A lot of the way that people are teaching these days gets people thinking a lot about their technique. I would say most all of the players that I have on the tennis court that come to me for the first time are thinking way too much about how do you do it. They have a checklist in their mind of things that they're supposed to do. They're trying to analyze what's going wrong. Those things are conventional, but they don't really work as great as leaving your mind and coming to your senses. The origin of visual training for tennis is that it comes from the inner game of tennis. And I might be so bold as to say that, having studied inner game of tennis and inner tennis, playing the game, interviewed inner game of tennis people, some of the really interesting, non-conventional teachers of tennis, I think that we've taken it another step. But this is a seminal thing, and the origin of this particular thought comes from Inner Tennis, Playing the Game, the second book by Tim Galway, and then I'm going to expand out on that a little bit, The Types of Intelligence. And it says by Mark Vitale there, but this material is from Dr. Howard Gardner from Harvard University. Start with the spatial, right? So look up into the kind of the pea green up there. I don't know what you would call that, kind of drab green. Spatial, visualizing the world in 3D. This is where we are. This is where we want to be. All right, now you move over there and you get to the right and you get naturalist, understanding living things and reading nature, musical. And we can get into the musical, rhythmical part, which is part of the rhythm of playing tennis, quantifying things, making hypotheses and proving them, logical, mathematical. People live here way too much, and it's not necessarily helpful during the point. But in between points, you want to have a statistical analysis of what's going on in your game. Yes, but in the actual execution of your shots, no. And you shouldn't think about a 17-degree angle of deflection upward. You shouldn't be thinking about that. Existential, tackling the questions of why we live and why we die. People do that too. They wonder, if I lose, does that make me a bad person? If I win, am I better? Sensing people. So the interpersonal, what people do is they're afraid to play their best because it might hurt the other person's feelings. That's a hard place to be, and it's legitimate. People are there because they're very interpersonal people. And here's another one where we want to live, here in the coordinating our mind with our body. So the bodily kinesthetic and the spatial, the musical, those three things can go together. Now, if we go over here to the linguistic is very limited. And this is another place where people spend too much time, as they spend too much time thinking in words about what they need to do. If the words that we use create pictures, feelings, and help people to understand rhythm, then that's a good thing. But we want our language to really line up. And then we have the intrapersonal. Now, this is a place where people can sort of stop and reflect on what's happening. If they stop and they reflect, their reflecting is visual, kinesthetic, and rhythmical, then everything's good. And, they can, in a limited way, they can do some reflecting on the logical, mathematical of the statistics of the match, of what's working and what's not working. That's fine, but just not during the performance.